get back. So, James is the founder and owner of JDA and Associates. It's a recruitment firm here in Houston, and he probably recruits a lot of different professions, but today he's going to talk about project managers, PAs, product owners, and very relevant to us. Okay, and he's going to, yeah. So, yeah, you guys good? Okay.
Everybody knows who I am, what I do. Everybody's either known me or talked to me or looked at my LinkedIn profile before he got here. So you know,
many centuries ago, as a new student who had just graduated, I did go to JDA and Associates to find a job. No, so I've been to your office a long time back. So thank you for that. And now we are here with James giving us a talk that is going to help us a lot. So with that, I give it to James.
Thank you. Thank you. Everybody comfortable with the intro? Do you need any more? Okay. So why are you guys here? Why are you here for the meeting?
Networking?
Networking? What else?
I'm here for your presentation.
Anything specific in that?
Yeah, I'm currently unemployed and I'm trying to orient myself for the next position.
Okay. Any other reasons why people are here? Anything you want to get out of this?
Understand the trends, what is happening in the market.
Right. Yeah, same here. What we're seeing changing. Anything else? I just want to make sure we cover some of that. I didn't know if everybody was in job search mode and they wanted to know more about how to do a job search in this area, or if you're interested more in kind of what's going on in the marketplace as a whole. So is it job search type things, or is it more marketplace as a whole? I guess.
Kind of both. Both, yeah.
Well, it's definitely job search mode.
I will tell 70% of job search because there is a lot of people that look for a job, and 30% trends just to inform us.
Okay. So.
Nobody said this, but I'm here for the food.
All right, the reason why I ask on that.
Can I ask something, please? Just on the job search thing. So for me, it's not just a job search alone. It's also like awareness of culture change. Because I just moved in here from Africa,
Right.
so I'm also learning the environment and looking for a job as well. So that's also another aspect.
Okay.
Tomorrow you may have a great session on this also.
Sure.
Yeah.
Since 2020, the entire culture around getting a job is
World's changed.
oh yeah, I feel like I'm in.
Okay, so the reason I ask on that is the original presentation is, this is what we're gonna talk about, right? But a couple of weeks ago, I did a training session at another trade group on how to develop your network, how to build your LinkedIn profile, how to get some attention when you're posting for jobs, and those types of things to help as far as in your job search. I've got the slides on the deck, so we can spend some time on that, or we can just go along with this with the original presentation. I'll let you guys decide what you want to do. How you want to do it.
I would say maybe some aspects of this presentation would be good, and then we can pivot into the tips.
That sound fair?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna race through the first part. I need a timer, because I'm like even more long-winded on this. I'd love to hear myself talk.
How long do you need the timer for?
Give me, 15 minutes. And we'll finish the first part. So, this is who I am, what I do. Got it? Okay. This is my typical presentation. That's my PowerPoint. And, also just me talking for endless hours. That's my typical. And sometimes I dream big and I make it interactive and people participate. So that's kind of my dream, that this is an interactive presentation instead of me just talking. And, let's see. Next slide.
You click on the thing so it disappears,
Uh-oh.
the clicker.
Uh-oh.
You just need to click on the presentation again and it will work.
Go back one more. And either way, I get paid the same. So you can fall asleep. You can fall asleep, or you can have fun. Doesn't matter to me, I get paid the same. It sounds like you guys would rather make it interactive and make some fun out of this. Is that correct? Yeah. Okay. Famous author, best speaker ever. This is what he thinks. There was some conversation in the break room about, your success as a manager, and I think you came upon this in one of your statements. Your success as a project manager or as a manager is dependent upon the people you hire and that you're associated. And your job when you get hired is to make your boss successful. So the more successful they are, the more successful you are. So people are all the difference. When I first started doing presentations, this is back in the 1980s, Microsoft came out with a new product, and this is IT-centric, but they, when I was learning about it, they said you should always start a presentation with a graph. So most of you guys are in IT, and this is the graph of, benefits of working in IT. So I just thought I'd put that up there because I think it represents my presentation style, what I've learned over the last 40-some years in recruiting.
It's very interesting because there is no color that matches.
Yeah, that's the point. Is that the point?
Yeah, so that's that. So we're hearing all kinds of outside factors right now that Mohammed was talking about. Wars, rumors of wars, earthquakes, floods. I mean, it's just your news source kind of dictates what you're getting. The one I like is, global nuclear annihilation is probably the best one out there. Depending upon what news, it's all bad, right? But if you look at it, there's a lot of good stuff going on, especially here in Houston and Texas. Economy's strong. These tariffs were horrible. And then we realized we're getting trillions of dollars of investment commitments, building up the American industry again. So it's like, okay, maybe that's pretty good. The energy sector was flat, but we're seeing profits. AI is creating new roles. It's changing the world potentially. And then we see different stuff happening, including the stock market. Skip this. Texas. We're very fortunate, and Texas is a huge economy. We're number 2 in the country. California's first, Texas is second. 9.3% of the U.S. GDP from Texas, huge. And if we were a country, we'd be number 9. So if you think about it, this is a pretty remarkable place. 55 Fortune 500 companies, 22 of them are in Houston. So we've got a lot of big businesses here. And the energy sector, even though it appears to be restricting or contracting, is still very profitable business. Texas has had a huge population growth over the last 10, 20, 30 years. Last year we saw a pretty steep decline, but it's coming from 200-some thousand people moving to Texas. So it's very amazing. Go to, is anybody here between jobs? Okay. So unemployment's horrible right now, right? There's no jobs, nobody's hiring, blah, 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 blah. So if you look at this historically, the answer is, well, that's kind of true, but kind of not true. I was thinking about this on the way over. So in 1977, I was living in Buffalo, New York. And I finished my associate's degree and trying to figure out what I wanted to do when I grow up. I'm 20 years old. Unemployment in Buffalo was 14%. All the industry was closing, no jobs, no future. You need to go. Where are you going to go? Houston. The roads were paved with gold and tumbleweeds were rolling over it. It was just an amazing place to be. So I packed up my car, drove to Texas, started It was great. Employment here was just incredible, the number of companies hiring. I mean, the want ads were like this thick. It was just amazing. And everything was chugging along really good until the mid-'80s. Anybody here in the mid-'80s, remember that? Okay, and the oil industry collapsed. And in that time, Houston lost 20% of its job base. 1 in 5 people, 20% of the job base were gone. Buildings like this that came online were vacant. This building might have been one of them, so it was about that time. S&L industry collapsed. It was just doom and gloom. Then things recovered, things picked up, and then the
How long does it take?
It take
How long did it
4 or
take?
5 years. But it didn't like just happen in one day. It happened over 4 or 5 years ago. And then this new tool came out that revolutionized the technology industry. Anybody remember what that was?
Internet?
PCs. PCs, yeah. And all kinds of new jobs came up. You had network people, because that was coming in, tax, software, all this cool stuff. And it just ramped up and started going. We had a couple of lulls in the 90s. Then at the end of the century, what happened? That was the internet, right? That came along, year 2000. So the employment market was just incredible. Because everybody was hiring because we had new technology, the internet was revolutionizing things. Energy sector was blowing and going. It started trading commodities, especially natural gas and products like that. Companies were just booming, and then what happened? .com blew up, right? And Enron blew up. Enron was one of our biggest clients for a number of years. And that whole sector just went bust. And unemployment was up, 14%, somewhere around there. And that took several years to overcome. Then we're blowing and going, and then 2008 happened. What happened then? Housing crisis. Yeah, the housing market. Too big to fail happened. Remember the banking industry, the home, I mean, it was just incredible. Unemployment was like 8 or 9% nationally. Then it recovered. Then we hit the mid-teens. Had a few bumps. Oil industry went through a few rough turns. And then they discovered this fracking stuff. Oil industry goes crazy. An energy boom, and then 2020 happened. What happened then?
COVID.
COVID hit, right? COVID. This is your COVID bumps. Unemployment went through the roof. Industries closed. Small businesses went out. Just incredible. And then what happened? It boomed again. What happened in 21, 22? Great Resignation. What was the Great Resignation? Yeah. So the Great Resignation was the work from home was a disruptive technology we're talking about, but it drove all kinds of innovation. And there was a hiring boom by the tech companies. Everything was going cloud. Everybody was ramping up. And people were changing jobs and making crazy money. And it just went absolutely nuts. It was the best market ever. Better than year 2000. Best market ever. I did more salary negotiations. We were getting people 20, 30, 40% raises. It was crazy. And then what happened? Started slowing down, right? And all these tech companies realized, maybe we don't need all these people. Massive layoffs in the tech sector, energy sector kind of floated around. Change of administration, change of energy policy, and our energy sector kind of went on pause for a while, and now here we are.
And then AI happened, and
Well, AI is the next thing, right?
Yeah.
So AI is springing up. That's the next thing. What's going to happen with AI? Now, we have a burst, that, how big, don't know, right? So this is, what's happening in unemployment. You notice there's 3 different lines. The 3 different lines represent different types of unemployment. There's different unemployment levels. Okay, so the low level line is the is the U3. That's the common one that people get reported on. And that means that you're within the getting benefits, looking for work. Then there's the next level, which is U5, which means that you're no longer getting benefits, but you're still actively looking. Then there's the U6, which is you're capable of working, you're just not working. Okay? So if you go back, if you notice, there's a disconnect of several points between that. What's the real unemployment rate? Is it a U6 or U3? Probably the U6. So the statistics are it's 4.2 or 3, the official one. The real one's probably 8.5 to 9% of. Just a bit of a difference in how you look at it.
So why do you say it's U6 is not the official one?
That's a very good question, right? So let me go over this in a minute here. And statistics can make a lot of different things. This is what happened during COVID. We'll close all the business, we'll force them to lay off people, we'll reopen them, rehire everybody, and we'll call it job growth. 15 million jobs created. Were they really created? No. What you also have is you've got workforce participation. That means the number of people that are workforce eligible, I think it's 18 to 60 something, that are working in the marketplace. And if you notice, prior to COVID, it's way up here, and now it's down here. There's 2 million less people working today than there was in 2020. So what happened to all those people? Where did they go? Some retired, some took early outs. Some found that you can make more money on the dole than you can working. Some found that they don't need to work anymore, whatever it is. There's just 2 million less people. So then the question is, well, how many jobs are out there? So, I've kind of been tracking this, and there's several million unfilled jobs. Are they project management jobs? Some. Are they laborers? Some. So it's kind of a whole cluster of things that are out here.
Isn't the PMI put a statistic out that there are going to be 25 million project management jobs needed? 25 million project management jobs needed globally in the next, how many years? 5 years. 5 years.
Because
they just grow.
Because of the aging population. People are getting older, and they're retiring. We don't have enough replacement rate. So they asked Elon Musk what his biggest fear was or concern. His point was that we're not producing enough kids, not replacing ourselves. And if you notice, at the front of the curve, 1960, 61, ended baby boomers. Well, guess what's happening to all those baby boomers? They're retiring. And there's not enough people coming to fill those jobs. Even though our population is growing, not enough to replace everybody. But AI is going to fix all that, and we're going to have robots doing all the work, so we don't have to worry about it. But PMI was saying that there's going to be millions of jobs that are coming up with 25 million. Well, yeah, that's a lot, but I wouldn't be surprised. Because, it's like you're going to have AI doing a lot of grunt work. I'm sorry. So the birth rates is a concern just from a population. If you're young in project management, you got to think who's going to work on your projects. That's going to be a challenge. So what we saw is we saw a market shift. In our business, we either have a candidate market or it's a company market, client market. A client market means you got one job, lots of people. Candidate market, one person, lots of jobs. So what market are we in now?
Candidate, or not candidate, client.
Well, if you're an AI guy, what kind of market? Candidate, right? So it depends on what you do. So right now, we've kind of got a little bit of both. For PMs and BAs and all that, definitely more of a client-based market. Less jobs, more people, right? So that's just kind of some of the change that we're seeing. Is this anything new? Yeah, it goes in cycles, right? And that was kind of giving you the history of marketplace, just letting you know this is just a cycle that we're in that's a little bit slower, but it's not anything to be concerned about. So what's hot, what's not? AI by far is the hottest. BI, data analytics, cybersecurity,
There's your timer.
audit, compliance, that's my 15 minutes.
Yes.
All right. Gotta hurry. Architecture, and then at the bottom, it's BA, systems analysts, project managers. I think product managers are actually gonna be more in demand than project managers. What's the difference?
Between product management and project management?
Correct.
Product management meaning you own the product. You have to know the development strategies, development pathway for that particular product, understand the market need. It involves a lot of
And
things.
the backlog. The
Yeah.
backlog, yeah.
Yes, you gotta understand the business
And then the business,
know it,
yes.
what are your external factors, you know, and all that. So you're driving software development or you're driving product development. Okay, so in an agile world, who runs Scrum meetings, who
Project
gathers all the
management.
requirements? Product managers.
Requirements, product managers, but runs the meetings could be the Scrum Master or the project manager.
And Scrum Master can pretty much do most of that, right?
Yes.
So do you
Scrum
need a
Master-
project manager in some of those cases?
No, most of the time, no.
So that's the point that I'm making. A lot of cases, is product management
Do everything.
taking over a lot of the role of project manager. Or at least that's what they're telling me.
But I think, do you agree that projects have more sales operations,
Say that again?
products going more into R&D, whereas project management is like more.
I think there's product managers in every. So what they're doing is they're embedding somebody that's representing my needs in my department to help them prioritize, understand requirements, and help manage those deliverables. And I want somebody on my team, not an external IT guy, somebody out of a PMO. I want somebody looking out for my thing, that understands my business process, my requirements, help to initiate projects, come up with ideas, and then help them facilitate the software development or running those projects. Now, keep in mind, I'm not a technical person. So what I do when I do these presentations is I call clients and I ask them questions about this stuff. Usually I'll get half a dozen CIOs and ask them, you know, what do you see happening here? What do you see happening there? And that's where I get my information. And then the requirements or the jobs that I see go through, how they're shipped. So that's where the VAs, systems analysts, and product managers are all kind of merging together. So all those functions are kind of rolling together. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Now, does that mean you don't need project managers? No, you're always going to have. But that role might be changing a little bit. What's not hot is those areas there. I want to do those. What executives look for. So this goes back to the point that you were making. You know, business functions, critical thinking, communications, presentation, cultural fit, leadership. These are the things that when they hire, they come up. There was a professor somewhere up in the Northeast that a couple years ago developed software, and he scanned all these different ads, like thousands of them, and looked for common words, phrases, and then was able to, prioritize what shows up the most. And this came from our interviews with CIOs and leadership, but that also was very apparent in what was coming up in ads as well. Those are the skills that people look for. Large versus small. There's a difference in a large company versus a small company. Large being $1 billion or more, small being something other than that. And what they view as far as PMs, certifications, and, just different qualifications for PM. Okay? So in smaller companies, certifications were more important. Why? Why would they be more important in a small company?
Yes, credibility.
Yeah, there's an assumption you know something, because you've got the certifications. Having a certification and being able to do something, are they the same thing? No. Right? So, in the larger companies, they said, I want somebody that can do something. I need somebody with experience that can get stuff done. Like, huh, that's interesting. But they have a more formal environment, more formal processes, so they can plug people in. But if you get in a jam, I need somebody that knows how to get out of it. PM. Newer leaders, meaning that in the PMs in smaller companies aren't just doing project management. A lot of times they're doing, well, they could be doing software. And then the CIO is usually managing the project. Larger companies, you've got more formal, more product managers. All the CIOs I talk to don't want the PMO in their, get it out, put it in its own group. They also want to get security out of their functions. Office of the CIO is just kind of managing more budgets as opposed to managing projects. The other thing they said is we need more sophisticated project managers. There's a lot more moving parts in bigger companies. So developing something at Exxon, we've got hundreds of thousands of units versus something in a small company. Same process, just a lot more moving. So this is what they were saying about it. Certifications that came up most on job postings for PMs, they're the ones on the left, and for product managers, release. I think most of those are PMI certs, right? Yeah, a lot of PMI. Yes. And that was doing a quick FGPT query to see what comes up, and it's like, oh, well, let me run it a couple different ways, and lo and behold, kind of came up the same way. I'm learning about how to ask questions. The way you ask a question gives you different answers. Potential areas of opportunity, DoD. The Defense Department is one of the few places that in this budget cycle is going to get more money, right? Trump wants big war machine, spend a lot of money. A lot of downstream projects going to come out of that. Critical infrastructure, global supply chain. These are some of the things Mohammed talked about. But those are all areas that, as we saw the disruptions. All right, so summary. 5 years been crazy. COVID changed everything. 2021-22, best ever. We started off strong, 23, flattened, and now we're back to a selective hiring, kind of a normal marketplace. So if you compare everything to 2022, considerably less, but you're also talking the best market ever. Anybody want to know about younger versus older guys? Yeah. So then the question is, younger versus older.
What define young and what define old?
Probably 40 or under, young.
Wow.
And then 40 or older. So what are you, 28, 29? So I'm the oldest one in the room, I got it. But, so, you know, the question is, do you prefer older or younger workers? There's advantages to both, okay? Gray hair assumes credibility. Be somebody with hair, that's the first step. Gray hair assumes credibility. In theory, they should be able to negotiate. They understand the political system. They have a consulting mentality. We're talking about asking questions, running meetings. You're assuming you have some of that. And over the years, you should have some good business knowledge. So there's some advantages to being an older worker. This was in the Wall Street Journal when I first added this to my presentation. And if you want to get stuff done, hire older people. What's the perception of older workers versus younger? Older workers are harder, dedicated. They don't have this robust social life. Most of them, their kids are out of the house, so they're not having other commitments, blah, blah, blah. So there's real advantages to being dedicated. Now, the difference there is a lot of times they're already at that point in their career where they know PMs that just like running projects. That's okay, because you need these. Now, if I'm gonna hire a full-time person, I want to be my replacement, I probably want a younger. And you're the guy that's getting involved, think like a leader, get your training certifications, shadow some of the older PMs, take on small projects, take initiative, learn the business, talk to the SMEs, step up. Step up, take the lead. Ask to take on more. That's one way to start getting more experience. Work from home. We're finding that the remote jobs are going away. Companies are finding that it's hard to build culture when nobody's in the office. And as we probably found out in a couple different ways, some people are really good at working from home and others kind of goof off a lot. Right? Out of sight, out of mind. Come time to lay somebody off, you got Bob sitting over here and Joe over here working remote. I know Bob, I know his family. Bob can hang around the water cooler. Who am I going to lay off? Don't know that person, right? So out of sight, out of mind. It also helps you build relationships. You could have ad hoc meetings. If something goes sideways, you can take your team to lunch, go out and have a beer, blow off some steam, solve some problems. You can't do that if you're working remote. So there's real advantages to you being in the office. Random thoughts. Twitter laid off 80% of their staff. They survived. Okay, every company can do that. Lots of consolidations right now, especially in the energy sector. When I first started in the business, Getty Oil, Pennzoil, Tenneco, Gulf were some of my biggest clients. Anybody heard of those? None of them are gone. They're all gone, right? They're all gone now. There's a lot of growth in the government, or at least there has been. They said over the last couple of years, almost 50% of all job growth for government, federal, state, and local, which is incredible. That's part of the DOGE deal, is to figure out why we hired so many people. Candidates per position are up 100%. So I talked to HR clients as well as some of my recruiter friends. They're getting 100+% number of responses per job. Number of open positions is down by 50% from 2022. Best year ever. You got to keep that in mind. Contract rates, supply and demand. Demand is low, supply is high. What happens to rates?
They go down.
Okay. For contractors is a variable rate. They can adjust costs. There's a lot of money on the sidelines. So companies are sitting on a ton of cash. Balance sheets are looking good. Now it's just a matter of what's next before they start spending money. And I think once we get through this tariff stuff and understand what all that's going to look like, I think you're going to see a lot of money. The other side is this is nothing new. We've seen this before. We're just in another phase. You guys want to know about wage growth? Okay. You notice big bump, not so much anymore. Okay. So we're back to a normal market, 2 to 4, maybe 6% increases if you stay, 5, maybe 10% if you move. Not like it was years ago. Now, we're also finding that people that made the hops to leverage up their salary, they're overpriced in the market. So they're having a real hard time right now. We're seeing wage adjustments on them. Not that they're having to take cuts in pay, they're just priced out of the market. We're seeing that a lot. Also, what we're seeing is that people that made those hops, stability issue, and companies are passing them because they've changed jobs every year and a half, ran up their salaries, now they're unstable and they're overpriced. And that's a challenge. I could make this available to you guys. This is a compensation report that we did. I'll put that out there for you.
So the entire slide deck available to the attendees, or?
Let me think about that.
Okay.
Are we done? No. How much time we got left?
We have 20 minutes.
20 minutes. build your network? When's the best time to build your network?
Now,
10 years ago.
all the time, all the time.
10 years ago is the best time. When you're building your network, somebody said 80% of all jobs. Said that? You did? Yeah, it's probably not that high, but it's pretty close. I like to think recruiters do most of it, but that's not true. Your network is the best resource for you to hire people as well as to get hired. So you want to build an active network. Now keep in mind it's a process, not an event. So when people call me or send me an email, I haven't heard from them in 10 years, they need some help, it's not getting my attention. Somebody that's in regular contact with me, I'm going to spend a little bit more time because they're in my network. The challenge that I had as a recruiter is back in the olden days when I had a Rolodex. Anybody remember that? Yep. Yeah, I had, 400 or 500 people that I knew. And I knew everybody. I talked to them all the time. Now I've got 50,000 people in my database plus all of LinkedIn. Don't get to know a lot of people. So it's the people that you interact with that you get to know. Those are the people that usually get your. So what's a good way to keep in touch with people? This networking events. I met my wife at a trade association. Got on her committee. Okay. Volunteered, stepped up, worked out pretty well. We've been married 30-some years, have a couple kids, So trade associations are a good way. Now, it's not who's in the association, it's who knows somebody in the association. When you think of a network, it's who you know knows. The one step after that, right? And it's amazing in Houston, it's a small community. Everybody kind of knows somebody. Now, that's good or bad. So I've had some people that I've called different people in PMI and said, hey, how's this person? They're on the board, they seem to be active. I get the shake of the head, and it's like they talk good, but they don't do anything. Really? You got people that show up, but don't do anything. I'm going to take on this project, but I don't finish it. And so does that impact how I would represent somebody, seeing how they interact in a trade group? Probably so. People that get stuff done, get stuff done. So working in a group, if you're going to do it with all your heart too. Let's see, who knows who? Offer, why would somebody want to accept your invite? Let's say you're on LinkedIn. LinkedIn's probably the best way to build a network. Where would you start looking in LinkedIn to build your network?
Ask colleagues,
Ask colleagues.
current and past.
Current colleagues, right? Yeah. Everybody you've ever worked with should be in your LinkedIn. Then when you pull their names up, what does LinkedIn give you?
Their connection.
On the right side, what does it give you? It gives you their connections, but it's also going to give you people that are like this person, right? So now if you're looking for whatever that title would be, for somebody that would hire you, it's giving you other people to go link to. So how would you connect them to them? What would you say to them?
Do you know X? Can we talk about it?
Yep. Or LinkedIn suggested that you and I should connect. Well, did it? Well, yeah, it's put you over there. So something that's going to give you an introduction just to get them in your network, right? Now, one of the things with that is people will connect to you if they feel there's some commonality or some value, right? But nobody wants to be sold. So you're not going to come and say, hey, I'm looking for a job. I'm looking at tapping your network, but you're starting a dialogue, right? Somebody posts something from, business or from PMI or project management. You guys ever go look at their profiles and request a link to them? I liked your post on something. Everybody's going to be connected with Muhammad here at the end of the show, right? Thanks for presenting. Got a big network, international. You're on LinkedIn, right? Yeah. So part of that is, I assume you're going to connect to me, right? But part of that is doing that. So then the other thing is what do you say to somebody, or how do you make your pitch? What do you say when they ask, or when you're telling them what it is you want to do, or what you're looking
Depend how well they know you.
That-
Depend how well they know you. Because if they know your background, you just can tell, build the relation, update, and after a few days, few weeks, then I'm looking for a job in this domain. Do you know anybody that could help me?
what I'm looking for. Okay, so part of it is you need to have the 30-second pitch. Now, we call it the elevator pitch, resume in a bottle, whatever you want to call it. We'll go over that in there. And then, you gotta work your network. Does anybody get the updates on somebody's birthday? You ever wish them happy birthday? You do it in email, or do you do it on LinkedIn? Send them an email. Because I got almost 200 on my birthday. Guess what? I didn't have a chance to look at it. People sent me an email. Guess what I did? Oh, okay, that's pretty cool. Who is this person? Oh, yeah, I remember this. So if you do it individually, you know, most people have their email address or something in their link. Send them a birthday. Somebody gets promoted. You guys call, congratulate. Send them an email. Okay, so that's building your network. So every time you do that, somebody looks at your profile. Right? And if they say, oh, this person has a pretty interesting background, I'm hiring somebody, or I know somebody. So now you've got a dialogue. You've got a reason to communicate. That's working your network. Any questions on that? Got it? Uh-oh. Resume and about, oh, I got it upside down. Remember the mouse? So your 30-second introduction, 2-line summary of your total experience, 2 lines of career highlights, and 2 lines of what you're looking for. You're just trying to give a highlight. Got my MBA, my PMP, got 5 years experience in managing multi-million-dollar projects. My last assignment, we developed software that automated something and saved the company $1 million. And what I'm looking for is a PM role and a EPC company that's implementing AI solutions. That's your 30-second. We could do a whole workshop on that, but that's just kind of something you want to do. Resume preparation. This is something that I'm just amazed at how many people at a professional level have no clue how to write a resume. And what I mean by that is, everybody understand that every company uses an ATS system, some kind of software that your resume gets uploaded. That is trying to read and index that. Because basically they're running keyword searches off of that, or it's looking for keywords. Okay. So part of it is you've got to make your resume friendly. And these formats that people use, like with all the templates and stuff, sometimes they don't work. Pictures don't work, graphs don't work. All these fancy things that people put in, it doesn't work. None of that gets read by the ATS system. So it might be beautiful, but it's not going to get you read. So an example is, I was doing a search on LinkedIn Recruiter. LinkedIn Recruiter is what most companies use. It gives you access to the whole database. And we can send out hundreds of emails. So I ran a search, sent out an email. I got a pretty good response. And about a week and a half later, somebody sends me, hey, I'm interested in learning more. Great. Can you send me your resume? I'll give you a call and we'll talk about it. So it took about a week and a half longer. Finally get a resume, couldn't open the file. What's going on here? Unless I downloaded some software to open the file. My security guy tells me what? Don't do it, right? So it's like, send me a Word document. That way, I can get it, I can't open it. So she sends me something else. And it comes out, it's a picture of the resume. what is this? Okay, my ATS can't read it, I can't pull any information off. Oh, good, send her another. Send me a plain word, I need a text document. So we went through this a couple of times, it took 4 weeks. Guess what happened?
Too late.
Too late, I got my list done, I already made my presentation. Okay? She had a good background, but gotta make it easy. Don't make me hunt, right? And another guy, we placed him twice back last century. LinkedIn profile didn't have the name that his official name that's in our database, like his real name, had, whatever it was called, and just had his initial. Well, hell, I can't find in my system. I don't know who he is. We placed thousands of people. So now I'm hunting, trying to find it. Guess what? I got other stuff. I'm not going to bother. You've got to make it easy for people. When you're putting your resume, name and contact information up on top. That automatically gets scanned in. That creates the things. If you've got your title where your name should be, guess what your name comes up? Right. That's what it's reading. Right. And if it's in when you got footers and headers, what is it when you create a document that you can't change? Is it a template that you can't change? You got in a template, guess what? Software doesn't read anything. So they don't have a phone number for you, not going to get it. Don't have an email, not going to get it. Same thing with your LinkedIn profile. Make sure you put some content. Any questions on some of this? I know I'm just trying to get through. Losing everybody. Everybody's getting
I have a question though. Since AI has been used a lot in job search as well, and people can use AI to like ChatGPT to write resume. And I've heard that companies use AI to screen as well. Do you have any comment on that? How common it is for companies to use AI to screen? And
yeah, 3 slides there.
okay.
Okay, make sure you have somebody spell check, grammar check, read it over, and know what's on it before you go in an interview. I talked to 3 people that have resume writing. And one of the things that they all suggested is make sure you custom your resume. So when you look at the ad, you have to customize your resume to match what the ad's looking for. Now, does that mean you're going to have 5 resumes or 100 resumes? The answer is yeah, you could. And some of the components become interchangeable. You want to map some of the keywords, make sure the key points that they're looking for are highlighted at the top of whatever your experience is, and also make sure your resume matches your LinkedIn. There's nothing worse than having different companies, different dates. How much time we got?
6 minutes.
6 minutes. Some keys, maybe questions. Some keys to your profile and search words. AI gatekeepers. That's what you want to know. So how much AI is actually in this, right? So I talked to a couple of HR guys. I asked them, how are you using AI to screen candidates? And the answer was, it's a lot more hype than it is reality today. And then I asked them, okay, looking at my industry for all of our ATS software, how is it used today? It's all used for workflow, not really to source people or to screen people. Not yet. The tools haven't been developed yet. So what's happening with this is you're right in the midst of this is just getting started, right? That's part of the challenge. It's just coming online. So the question is, when it gets into their ATS, are they running queries against it, keywords? And the answer is yes. Are they ranking people based on the number of hits? This is all anything new. Is it able to read and interpret, try to summarize, kind of, but it's not there yet. Right? So at some point, somebody's still having to interpret what your resume is. So the question is it a FIFO or LIFO process? So you get 100 resumes, what are they looking at first? First in or last in? Last in?
Yeah, I think it depends, right? It depends.
Depends on who's
If I'm
doing
doing it myself, it's last. If the recruiter brings it to me, it's first. It's whatever they give me first.
Yeah. So it depends. I got different answers from different people. So what ends up happening is the first guys are the ones that have the bot set up that are applying everything. So the first 20, 50 of them, it's just auto response, and they're responding to anything that has project manager, whether they're qualified. And a lot of times you want to overlook those because those are the usual suspects that are just responding. Right? So depending upon who it is. Now, what they're doing is they're creating a short list though to help rank it, you know, based on keywords and number of instances, but it's not selecting who to look for. So it's creating a short list. Once you get your 10 people, you're not going to go look at the other 100. You're just going to go with the 10. If you don't get it there, then you want to go look at it. So there's some urgency to get in, but again, some go first in, some go last in. Company forms. Do you ever have to fill out a form? And that's really frustrating, so everything's on your resume. So you do it?
Yes,
Why?
because it's the standardized, yeah.
So what happens is that gets forced to their index. Now when I come in and I'm looking for that job, guess what comes up first? Who filled out the forms? Right? Now, if you don't fill it out completely, what does that say about you?
Not
You're
paying
lazy.
attention to detail.
Right? So, but that gets first viewed before they go back. So it's like, okay, that makes sense. But you can only do that if you're targeting versus if you're shotgunning. So if you're shotgunning, you're just throwing stuff out there. You can't really do that. If you're really targeting who you're looking for, who you want to work for, that's where you get into. But then it also comes down to who do you know. Company, which is kind of your
Can I have one question about the keyword? I've heard about the keywords a lot. Usually, in average, how many keywords that the ATS screen?
It depends on what results you get. So if I was to look for a PM with a PMP in Houston, LinkedIn, how many would I have?
Like thousands, yeah.
Okay, so now I need something else. Now I'm gonna look for Katie, because I'm in the energy core. So I might put Katie in there. Now I only have 500. Then what am I gonna look for? So you're doing a Boolean search to come up with whatever it is that's gonna get you to a reasonable amount of people. So on your resume, you've got to have the right keywords that are on the job post.
Yeah, but sometimes I look at the job description and there are things that I think keywords, but I don't know if that resonates with the job poster or not.
That's the problem. They put a lot of stuff.
Yes, a lot.
Okay, so, candidates, search beyond the job boards. You ever run a ChatGPT or AI query for PM jobs? Do stuff? You ever look and see who works at that company? You ever look and see who runs the PMO? It's just stuff. You ever ask what their phone number is, what their email address is?
Actually, GPT? No, it's called right now.
Yeah, what is it?
Job right now, and,
Job rec?
job right now.
Job right.
Yeah, jobright.io.
What is it? I think I use it once.
It's a guide platform
I think
for.
the Anva system turned it off.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's like automatic,
All right,
yeah.
I'm done.
Yeah.
So, let me ask you a question here. Do they have a session at the conference on job search? I know Rick Gillis does it.
I think that you might know, right?
They normally have it,
Is
and
Rick
it could be
doing one
more
this
than
year?
one. There could be more than one.
Okay, because I know I've done interviews, I've done stuff like this. Would this be of value for, like a workshop?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, tomorrow, no, 2 days to apply for the workshop.
Yeah, I kind of figured it. does that pay money?
Doesn't pay money, the only one that is paid is, peanuts.
And the last slide, you can put your JDA and associates. That's what you can do.
You know, everybody knows who I am, so just look me up on LinkedIn. Give me a round of applause, maybe a cheer.
Thank you very much, James. Little token from us, and hope you can come again with a
Let me
new
go picture
topic,
real quick.
maybe.
With that,
And the hat.
Two different ads.
well, this one fits, I'm good. Thanks for coming, guys, sorry we wanted to rush through, but
Well, our next event is on July 16th at this location. We're going to have Ava Thatch, who's a TED speaker, and she's going to speak on the implementation of AI in either project management or something of that sort. Very interesting. She's a TED speaker. And the second person is going to speak on how to have successful hybrid projects. And Mahesh Karthik, he's going to speak on that. So hope to see all of you there, okay?
Thank you, thank you.
I also want to kind of point out Ms. Aisha. She has generously offered a new location to the Galleria at her Tanishq jewelry store, which is on Post Oak. And we are in the process of finalizing this, but the Galleria events will happen at that store, hopefully, if everything goes right. In which months again? September and November. Probably not. But anyway, you're free to look as much as you want and purchase. And so we'll have our Galleria venue out there, hopefully. Okay? Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Good job.